think one of our biggest outings we did was I took Karen sailing with me through the blind sailing program, and that was really exciting and just an amazing activity that we could do and share together.
All right, everyone. Welcome to another great episode of Let's Move Canada. We are your hosts, Dana and Luigi from the Canadian Health and Fitness Institute. And on today's episode of Let's Move Canada, we will talk with Tammy Adams from the Canadian Council of the Blind and her guide dog, Roberta, if she will join us, about what inspires them and what being healthy means to her. And before we introduce Tammy, let me start by saying that this podcast is brought to you by the Canadian Health and Fitness Institute, whose mission is to make Canada the fittest nation on earth by 2030. And to this end, of course, our podcast aims to raise awareness about physical and mental health. All right, so folks, so now our great guest of the day on Let's Move Canada. We're very excited to be joined by someone who brings heart, energy, and community in everything she does. Tammy Adams is a longtime member of the Canadian Council of the Blind, also known as CCB, and currently serves as president of the CCB Rocks chapter, a dynamic group that fosters peer support, advocacy, and accessible recreation for people who are blind, deafblind, or living with vision loss. Whether it's organizing indoor rock climbing, supporting dragon boat paddling, or just showing up to make sure everyone feels included, Tammy's work reflects the Council's mission, a voice of the blind, by the blind, and for the blind. She's someone who really understands how meaningful movement, connection, and community can be, especially for those especially for when those efforts are led by people that are most impacted. Tammy, welcome. We're so excited to have you today and with your guide dog, Roberta.
Thanks. I'm so excited to be here.
Beautiful.
So we're going to start off. We want to know a little bit about you. So tell us where you're from and tell us why physical activity is important to you.
Well, I was born in Toronto, and I lost my sight when I was 12. So from there, I went to a blind school in Brantford called W. Ross Macdonald. And it was through W. Ross Macdonald that I partook in a lot of sports and activities. It was mandatory for all the students to be a part of a sport or an activity. Physical education was a number one priority, especially to maintain health and just a sense of social networking there. And I really think because of that, that's why I'm so active today as an adult, and that's why I've continued to follow, activities and sports for the blind and support on those boards, and Myra as well. She's also was a student at W. Ross Macdonald, and I feel that sport itself is very important, especially when you have any kind of disability, because you want to maintain your health. And when you have a disability, you do feel isolated at times. So just being part of a team or a group, it gives you that chance to socialize and connect with others and feel like you're part of a community. But not only that, it opens doors to other sports and activities. And you might even have the chance to travel or to meet, new faces, go to new places. So that's why I think it's very important.
It's wonderful. I love I love the message about not only staying active but also finding community. I think we mention this all the time, how the importance of community and finding people who can be your support group and just doing the things that you love with them. So it's really refreshing to hear that.
Thanks.
And while we were on it, we were very curious to learn about how you transitioned into the Canadian Council of the Blind. So more specifically, how did you transition into the rock climbing club, and how did that get into the CCB as a whole?
Well, because I went to W. Ross, I was already in that blind community,
Mm-hmm.
and I started off with with different sports. So I started off with a blind sport called goal ball, which started from W. Ross, and that opened the door for so many other sports through community, and I learned all about CCB chapter, the Toronto chapter, through that, and that's how I had these doors open to me when it came to the dragon boating, and um, of course the rock climbing, and some other activities that the CCB does as well.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I just went from there. It's just, again, it's about networking and community, and uh, having that chance to connect. So that's how you hear about all these wonderful opportunities.
Right, right.
Yeah,
And
amazing. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Luigi.
I was gonna ask if how many people are in a team or in a group with you?
Well, it depends on the sport.
Mm-hmm.
So with the dragon boating, we try to have at least a dozen partially sighted or completely blind athletes
Mm-hmm.
that are able to paddle the boat. When it comes to rock climbing, it really depends on, if we have maybe half a dozen blind people willing to climb, then I'll organize an event. And yeah, it just really depends on the activity and the sport itself.
Mm-hmm.
So can you tell us, I know for me, I am very interested to know how this work, how you like your experience during these sports, because it's such a different experience, like rock climbing, or I know you belong to a blind sailing club, blind
Right.
sailing, right? So can you tell us about like what is that experience like actually being in a blind sailing club?
It's pretty amazing. I got introduced to the blind sailing through a friend. And when I first, well, it's, first of all, it's our organization called Blind Sailing Canada, and we have two boats, Catalina 22, and then also a 27. And I was introduced to the 27, and that was in 2015. And when I first got on the boat, I was actually pretty terrified, and
I bet.
I just
Yeah.
thought, oh my gosh, I don't think I could do this. But then as soon as I got off on the dock, I thought, wow, I want to do this again. This is so
It's
exhilarating,
wonderful.
exciting.
Right. Yeah.
And so I joined the sailing group, and I ended up taking the basic cruising course.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually got into the racing program.
Oh, wow.
And I do travel now. I travel and I partake in blind sailing regattas all
Okay,
over.
that is like the coolest thing I've ever
Very
heard.
cool.
That is so cool. Like I mean, you're very, very brave.
Well, I don't know if it's about bravery exactly. It's just about trying something and see if you like it, or if you can do it, or if
Yeah.
it's what you want to do, and you just you just adapt to it, and it's always good to try something once. That's my motto.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So we were actually talking about this earlier, but my grandma belonged to the CNIB for her whole life and did a lot of trips with them, and but she never did a regatta. So maybe I need to call her and get her to get on her on a sailboat.
Yeah, I think she'd love that.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah,
And there's
amazing.
also it seems like there's also the Vision Mate program. Can you tell us a little bit more about that and how others can get involved, as whether it's as volunteers or as participants?
Oh, for sure. That's very important, especially during the pandemic. Uh, a lot of people I know, including myself, felt very isolated, and the
Hmm.
Vision Mate program was very important because basically what it is a volunteer from the CNIB would reach out to someone who is blind, and just give them a call once a week to see how they're doing and talk to them and connect, and what it was like during the pandemic, feeling so isolated. That was pretty important.
Hmm.
And then after the pandemic uh, kind of went into a post period, and we were all able to get together again. That's when, your vision mate, you could meet each other and go for a coffee, or, you know, you can go shopping with them, go to a restaurant. And that's what happened with this wonderful lady that I met that works at the CNIB, Karen.
Mhm.
And, we got together, we had coffee, we went for a walk, we went on some trips, we got to know each other. And then eventually I actually got her on one of our sailing boats. So, we went sailing together, and she's been a part of my life ever since. And I think that really saved me through the pandemic. And, I really encourage other vision impaired and partially sighted individuals. If you want to reach out and have that extra support, or just have a connection once a week, just go to the Vision Mate program at cnib.ca, and it'll have all the information there. And yeah, you'll get connected with someone that has your same interests and age group. And yeah, it's just
That's
an
wow, that's really cool. I didn't know about
Really,
that.
really cool.
Is that
amazing
all? Is that
program.
all? Yeah. Is that all across Canada?
Mhm.
Uh, I know it's definitely in Ontario.
Mhm.
Hmm.
I'm not sure about the other provinces yet. I think it might be because it's through the CNIB. So
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
believe it is through the other provinces now. So yeah, I mean, anybody that's a client of the CNIB can reach out to them and say, hey, I need a vision mate. And then you sign up, and that's it. It's all free.
Wow.
Wow. So,
Very
and
good.
that's good for like our listeners to know that if they want to be a vision mate, right, they
Mhm.
can get in touch
Exactly.
with, yeah, that I didn't know about that program. So
Yeah.
Yeah, and I
that,
mean, you don't have to be completely able-bodied to be a volunteer. Like my lady is a very high partial, and even if you have another disability, if you just want to help out as a vision mate, some people just want their mail read. Some people
hmm.
just want to talk once a week, so it's a perfect program for that.
Hmm.
This is really cool. Now, one thing that we also love to think about in terms of our community and our support system is who we're most with and who we exercise with. So I have to absolutely bring Roberta into this. How does Roberta participate in these activities? Are there
Oh,
uh,
definitely. Um, I take her sailing with me actually, so she has a life jacket and she'll come into the cabin with me. And yeah, she really enjoys sailing with me. And it's the same with when I do go rock climbing. Obviously,
Hmm.
can't climb the wall with me, but we'll have some volunteers there, and they'll kind of hold on to her while I climb the wall, and but she's done other activities with me. She's
Right.
I go skiing in the winter, so she
Wow.
she actually
Goodness.
goes snowshoeing with me.
Wow.
So she really enjoys that. So she's quite a good sport companion.
Oh
It
my
sounds like
gosh.
it.
Wow,
It's
that's
really
amazing.
cool. Wow. Yeah, I've never been skiing, so to know that Roberta is has taken the lead, it's really cool to hear that, and to hear how you participate. Now, it sounds like there are different activities depending on the season, right? So, what
Right.
are some summer activities that folks can look forward to, whether as participants or volunteers, yeah, for the summer?
Well, under the CC umbrella, you have the dragon boating, and there is the blind sailing Canada. That's not
Hmm.
under CCB Rocks, but we have our own website that you can go to, which is Blind Sailing Canada, and you can sign up there. There's also blind tennis, and that's also its own organization. But all these organizations are very close together, so I don't think it really matters, if it's right under the CCB umbrella, because we all connect. We're all a community, and I think those are some of the summer activities. There's also Achilles, which is a running and walking group for the blind and other disabilities. So we get together every Saturday with guides, and we'll go for a walk.
Hmm.
And yeah, so that's the summertime.
Wow, that
A
sounds
lot
so
of
fun.
fun.
There's so many options that I never knew about. I never knew about this.
Yes.
I feel like my world just kind of expanded
Hmm.
in the last 20 minutes.
Yeah, so I think we have probably one more question. Dana, you want to take us home?
Sure. So we always ask this at the end of the podcast. We'd like to get your thoughts too. So um actually we have two questions. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Well, well, no, actually, so we Luigi kind of asked the one about the summer, which is great. So that's a great question. But I'm going to ask you this question that we usually ask at the end of every podcast. So, what is something that Canada could or should focus on more when it comes to physical activity?
Definitely skiing, because right now, at least for cross country skiing, I'm currently having to go to South Dakota,
Oh,
because they
wow.
Hmm.
have a program there for cross country skiing called Ski for Light. So that's a whole week of skiing and snowshoeing, and there is downhill skiing. Um, I guess, yeah, it's and it
Oh.
goes all winter,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
that is a part of CCB, and it's the Ski Hawks, and that's all downhill skiing, and that's also a very good program. They mostly focus on skiing in the Caledon area,
Hmm.
Hmm.
uh, Blue Mountain area, and that's a good program as well.
Hmm.
But I would like to see more cross country in Canada. I think that
Hmm.
would be amazing.
Wow. Well, thank you for that. Again, another thing I didn't know about. I mean, I know about cross country skiing, but not all these programs that you're talking about, like ski for lights and yeah, ski hawks and things. So thank you for coming on and sharing all this information with us.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
Beautiful, beautiful. And we want to thank everyone who tuned into this episode. Again, we're your hosts, Dana and Luigi. And if you want to learn more about Tammy and the amazing work of the Canadian Council of the Blind, please follow them at Canadian Council of the Blind, all one word, on Instagram. Or you can visit their webpage at cnib.ca. And there's also ccbnational.net. Is that correct, Tammy?
Yeah, that's correct.
Beautiful, beautiful. And you can learn about everything, the activities that they're involved in, how you can participate and support, and yes, and really make this worthwhile together as a community. And in addition, make sure to check out our Instagram at Let's Move Canada for latest updates, and head over to our website at chfi.fit to learn more about our mission. And don't hesitate to DM us if you're interested in being a guest on Let's Move Canada. And stay tuned for next episode announcements. Thank you, everyone, and see you next time.